Should you be compensated for giving up an organ to save a life? A new bill to be heard before a select committee today is proposing to give live donors up to 80% of their wages during treatment. Veteran campaigner Andy Tukey says that doesn't go far enough, so he and daughter Katie are heading to Parliament. But first, they're going to join us from Wellington. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Nadine.
Andy, I'll start with you. Why is 80% not enough?
Well, these people are saving lives, and we could change the bill title to Save a Life, Lose 20% of your wages bill. Why should they lose 20% of their wages? A lot of people can't afford to lose 20% of their wages, and they would decline to be a donor, and yet they're saving lives. And not only that, each live donor is saving the health system $120,000 per live donor.
If we're going to talk about money, though, is just compensating your wages enough? Because surely there are other inconveniences and costs associated with going through quite major surgery.
Well, this is what I'll be pushing for today. It's not just 100% of the wages that I'm being pushing for. It costs them live donor many thousands of dollars. Because they have dozens of trips to the hospitals for testing, and unless they live 100 kilometres away from the hospital, they do not get any compensation for accommodation, petrol, taxis and so on. Over the course of a year of testing, that builds up to a lot of money.
I guess some might fear that if you bring in money, that some people might do it for the money rather than for altruistic purposes. Is that a valid fear?
I don't think you're losing the altruism side of it, because we're not talking of paying for organs. We're paying for full and proper compensation for what the live donor's already lost. We're not selling kidneys on the back streets here. It's just what they've lost financially they should be paid for.
Katie, if I could bring you in here. You're planning to go along with your dad today and speak to the Select Committee, but it's not actually your first time speaking there. I think you did it when you were 5, so how do you feel about going in there today?
Well, it's kind of frightening because I'm going to be speaking today, whereas when I was 5 I didn't speak then. But I think it's going to be really good.
Well, you obviously have a really powerful message to impart. Can you tell us a little bit about your situation? You haven't had a transplant, but you may well one day need one?
Yeah. When I was really little, I had a Kasai procedure, and that is helps with my liver, so I don't need a transplant yet.
And so why do you think it's so important that what your dad is campaigning for here comes to pass?
Well, a lot of people aren't live donors or donors at all, and we're trying to raise it so a lot of people, including me, can get the organs they need.
We're just seeing some gorgeous pictures of you as a 5-year-old. You're so brave going into Parliament and sending that message. If I could come back to you, Andy, I understand that other countries, we talked before about we're not paying for organs, but some countries do. I'm thinking, is it Iran? And it actually seems to work.
Yeah, well, in a lot of US states, I think 13 US states, they pay compensation to live donors of $10,000 on top of, what they already have lost. And in Iran, they did that. They introduced paying for organs, but it's regulated by the government. There's no black market. And guess what? There is no waiting list for organs in Iran.
Wow, no waiting list. So do you think if we made some improvements to the conditions to those who opt to go under the knife and give up an organ, that we could improve our waiting lists?
Well, we could. We could go down the lane of paying more for organs, because it would be regulated. As I say, you can't have a black market really in New Zealand, because you can't get a backstreet doctor to do a transplant. It has to be done at a main centre hospital. So they should be paid not only their loss of income and travel costs and accommodation costs. I think they should be paid a little bit extra, say an extra $5,000 for the pain and suffering and emotional turmoil they must have gone through prior to giving up a kidney.
Katie, are you pretty proud of your dad and the work he's done to campaign about this issue?
Yeah.
Well, I wish you both the best of luck today at Parliament. That is Andy and Katie Tukey.
Thanks.